Atlanta's night was supposed to stay calm, but at 3 a.m., the silence cracked under a nightmare no parent ever wants to face. King Harris, the son of rap icons T.I. and Tiny, was clinging to life inside the ICU. His frail body was tethered to machines, each beep sounding weaker as doctors murmured the unthinkable. Prepare for the worst. The Harris family's ordeal was only beginning, and under the harsh glow of Grady Memorial's fluorescent lights, the hip-hop world froze. Alarms shrieked, medical staff sprinted, and the room dissolved into chaos as they fought to pull King back from the brink.
This wasn't just another medical emergency.
It played out like a horror film, except this was real. Every rumor, every shocking leak online exploded like dynamite, amplifying the pain. King's mother, Tiny, crumpled in the hallway, screaming as nurses struggled to hold her upright. That heart-shattering breakdown, caught on camera, raced across social media in seconds, leaving millions of fans crying. Hashtags like #PrayForKing and #JusticeForKing Harris surged to the top of global trends almost instantly.
But then the story took a darker turn.
A leaked medical report claimed King's injuries weren't the result of a random jailhouse fight. Insiders alleged his body bore marks of calculated torture, wounds too precise, too vicious, too deliberate to be from fists or kicks alone. This wasn't just violence, it was a warning. Someone wanted King broken, maybe even erased. Then came the leak that froze the country, an eerie audio clip of a prison guard's voice crackling through static. The order came from above. We just cleared the way. That single sentence flipped the internet upside down.
Who issued the command?
Who wanted King's silence so badly his beating resembled a staged execution? Fans, bloggers, and conspiracy hunters threw accusations everywhere. Rival gangs, old industry foes, even powerful figures buried deep in politics and the prison system. Some whispers suggested it wasn't about King at all, but about destroying the Harris family entirely. King's arrest hadn't shocked people as much as his reaction afterward. Railing against police, embracing chaos, and defying the life of privilege he'd grown up in. The internet was already asking, why was he walking this path? Just as it seemed things couldn't grow darker, another bombshell detonated online. A supposed ICU security video began circulating, allegedly showing masked men sneaking into King's hospital room in the dead of night and tampering with his life support equipment. If the footage was genuine, it meant King wasn't even safe in a hospital full of doctors. Forces larger, colder, and more calculated than anyone imagined were closing in. Outside, Atlanta boiled over. Fans, protesters, and family members lined the streets, candles flickering in the cold air as chants of "Protect King" rose up. Some prayed through trembling hands, while others screamed for justice. Rage and grief mingled into a charged storm of emotion the city hadn't felt in years. Inside the hospital, T.I. no longer looked like the unshakable superstar, only a father pacing hallways, his hands shaking, his voice cracking as he faced the cameras. My son is being targeted like he's some kind of enemy.
He's just a kid.
Please, someone stop this madness. His plea went viral instantly, drawing waves of support from some and brutal comments from others claiming it was karma for T.I.'s past. The internet split in two, turning a private nightmare into a worldwide spectacle. Then came the footage nobody was ready for. An anonymous source claimed to have new CCTV from inside the ICU, showing two hooded figures slipping into King's room at 2:47 a.m. One crouched by his bed. The other stood guard at the door. The video cut off before revealing more, but its implications were terrifying.
Someone was actively sabotaging his recovery.
Nurses whispered about outside interference, insisting King's life wasn't safe even within the hospital's walls. One whistleblower nurse even revealed that King's ventilator mysteriously shut off for several seconds earlier that night before alarms blared, and the footage of that exact moment had disappeared. Was it all just coincidence, or a full-scale cover-up? Nobody could tell, but the internet erupted, accusing powerful forces of wiping evidence and silencing King Harris for good. The Harris family's pain spilled out for the world to see. Outside the ICU doors, Tiny was filmed breaking down, sobbing so hard she nearly collapsed as she cried. "Don't take my baby. Don't take him from me." That raw plea shocked millions online. The video replayed endlessly on TikTok and Instagram until it felt etched into everyone's memory. Inside, T.I.'s fury boiled over. Witnesses said he punched walls, screamed at doctors, and accused the hospital of covering up what he believed was murder. His anger reportedly became so explosive that security intervened after he hurled a chair across the floor. Those images went viral instantly, transforming him from a grieving father into a man at war with a system he claimed was trying to erase his son.
Then the story grew even darker.
Leaks suggested King's blood tested positive for strange toxins unrelated to his jail injuries or prescribed medications. The chilling thought spread: someone was poisoning him inside the hospital. Hacker groups jumped in, posting alleged stolen hospital files stamped with a terrifying message: "They are not saving King, they are finishing him." Outrage swept across the globe. Fans were convinced this wasn't just a fight gone wrong but a deliberate, targeted attack by people with real power. Outside, protests spiraled out of control. Demonstrators clashed with riot police guarding the hospital as tear gas clouded the streets, turning Atlanta into a war zone. Social media lit up with live streams of every fiery moment. By sunrise, King's story had become more than one teenager's struggle for survival. It was a global battle of narratives. Some swore he was paying for his father's sins. Others believed he was being silenced to keep explosive secrets buried. Every leak, every rumor, every scream from the ICU blurred the truth even further, leaving the world desperate for answers. One fact stayed undeniable. King Harris was caught in a storm far bigger than himself, one powerful enough to tear apart not just his family, but the entire music industry. And as dawn broke over Atlanta, the nightmare deepened. King's condition slipped from critical but stable to something far worse. Doctors whispered about organ failure as nurses sprinted between rooms with trays of emergency drugs. Each frantic beep of the machines strapped to his fragile body felt like a hammer striking his family's hearts. At 5 a.m., T.I. and Tiny were called into a private room and told the words no parent should ever hear: "If we don't see improvement soon, we may have to discuss letting him go." That single sentence shattered the Harris family. Tiny collapsed again, screaming so loudly staff said her cries shook the entire floor. Witnesses claimed she fainted and needed treatment herself. A secret recording of a breakdown leaked online within hours, flooding millions of feeds and turning the internet into a river of tears. People didn't just see grief, they felt it, unfiltered and raw, as though they were watching a mother lose her soul in real time.
And then came another confidential leak.
Analysts reported that King's bloodstream contained a mysterious substance unmatched to any hospital treatment. It wasn't just a medical emergency, it was sabotage. Someone had tampered with his line, slipping poison into his system as he lay defenseless. The revelation exploded online, sparking hashtags like #ICUBreach and #ProtectKingHarris as fans demanded answers. How could the son of one of hip-hop's biggest names, a high-profile patient in a major Atlanta hospital, be left so exposed? Within hours, anonymous accounts dropped yet another clip, alleged CCTV footage showing two hooded figures entering King's ICU at night. One bent over his bed while the other kept watch at the door. The footage cut off before revealing what happened next, but the message was unmistakable. Whoever was behind this wasn't satisfied with hurting King.
They wanted him gone.
They hadn't stopped at the jailhouse walls. They had followed him straight into the hospital. The next few hours would determine everything. By dawn, social media was drowning in leaks, most unconfirmed, each one more terrifying than the last. The most shocking rumor claimed King Harris had been declared clinically dead for nearly 2 minutes before doctors shocked his heart back to life with defibrillator paddles. If true, it meant the Harris family had already endured the horror of watching their son die once, only for him to be pulled back from the edge. That revelation sent fans spiraling, weeping at the thought of a mother witnessing her child's final breath and speculating if someone was deliberately trapping King between life and death. By midday, what began as a private family tragedy had exploded into a worldwide scandal. The crowd outside Grady Memorial grew from hundreds to thousands. Voices rose into chants, tears streamed down faces, and calls for justice shook the streets as helicopters roared overhead.
Atlanta looked like a city under siege.
Inside the hospital, T.I. and Tiny never left King's bedside. Even as his fragile body slipped further away, doctors gave them the same crushing warning: prepare for the worst. The moment that phrase leaked, it spread like wildfire. #Prepare for King shot to the very top of global trends as millions of fans posted prayers, tributes, and desperate pleas for a miracle. Yet alongside the outpouring of love came darker whispers. Many were convinced this wasn't fate at all, but a carefully engineered plot, orchestrated by powerful hands determined to finish what had begun inside that jail cell. King Harris was no longer just a teenager fighting for survival. He had become the center of one of the darkest, most controversial sagas the rap world had ever witnessed. By nightfall, Atlanta trembled on edge. The hospital looked less like a sanctuary of healing and more like a fortress under siege. Riot police guarded every entrance, helicopters circled low, and thousands of fans filled the streets with candles and signs, chanting, "Justice for King."
The world wasn't merely watching anymore, it was demanding answers.
Inside those suffocating hospital walls, King's condition plummeted. His lungs were failing, kidneys shutting down, every passing hour dragging him closer to the brink. Again, doctors whispered the words no family should ever hear: prepare for the worst. When that line resurfaced online, it tore through the internet like lightning, fueling a tidal wave of panic so massive that #PrepareForKing became more than a hashtag. It became a cultural earthquake, shaking the rap world, rattling millions of hearts, and forcing the globe to watch, minute by minute, as chaos unfolded in real time.